All right, guys, welcome to the last day of solving quadratics. And this method is called solving quadratics by the quadratic formula. And this is a method that works when you cannot factor and when you cannot square root both sides. This method always works. Okay, so this formula, this quadratic formula, it allows us to find the solutions to any quadratic. This always works. Okay, first thing you have to do is get your equation in this form. The x squared term has to be first. The x term has to be second. The constant number term has to be third. And it must equal 0. Must equal 0. All right, when you have it in that situation, here is the quadratic formula. To find x, we take negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, and it's all divided by 2 times a. Bad news is you have to have this memorized. Good news is there is a cute story that I'm going to share that will help you memorize this formula. And here it is. There was a negative boy, and he was deciding if he should go to a radical house party or b square. So to b square means like you're a loser. Or b square and miss out on 4 awesome chicks. And the party was all over by 2 a.m. Okay, so I know it's weird, but that's the story that helps me remember the quadratic formula. Let's say it one more time. There was a negative boy, and he was deciding if he should go to a radical house party or b square and miss out on 4 awesome chicks. And the party was all over at 2 a.m. There's also a song, but I'll sing it to you guys in class tomorrow. All right, so it's really easy to solve. If you know A and you know B and you know C, you literally just plug it all in and get your 2 answers. So let's try one. Okay, so first thing you guys have to do is it must be equal to 0. So like before for other problems, we need to subtract the 8 over first. So we have 3x squared plus 5x minus 8 equals 0. All right, let's label our pieces. What is A? Okay, well, A is always the number in front of the x squared. So it looks like our A is 3. Okay, right there. What's our B? Well, our B is the x term, the number in front of the x term. So our B is going to be 5. And what is our C? Well, the C is the constant number term, and it looks like C is negative 8. Make sure you guys get that negative with it. Negative 8. All right, we know A, we know B, we know C. Let's plug it into the quadratic formula and see if we can solve. Okay, so I'm trying to show it, but I'm just going to rewrite it here. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, get out your calculators and we're going to type it in. Okay, actually, let's write it out first. So x equals, all right, negative b. Well, b is 5, so negative b will be negative 5. Plus or minus square root b squared. Well, b is 5, so 5 squared minus 4 times a is 3 times c is negative 8. all over 2 times A. 2 times A is 3. All right, let's type it in the calculator. Let's get our, now remember, we have to do it twice. We have to do one with the plus sign and one with the minus sign to get our two different answers. So let's do it. Okay, because quadratic formula is a fraction, I am going to use my alpha y equals fraction key to type it in. And then I type it as I see it, -5. Now make sure you guys use the negative, not the subtraction key. -5, I'm going to do the plus version first. Plus, big square root sign, um, 5 squared minus 4 times 3 times -8. Here's where a lot of people might screw up. This one here is a subtraction sign. This one here is a negative sign. They're different buttons on the calculator. Here's the subtraction sign. Here is the negative sign. Be careful, they're different. All right, and the party was all over 2 a.m., so 2 times 3. If you typed it in right and hit enter, you will get your first answer, 1. Now we have to type it all over again using the minus, or there's a trick. If you hit the up arrow and hit enter on the equation, you can go and edit it to make that plus sign a subtraction sign, and then you don't have to type it all in again. And if you do that, you get -8/3. You can leave your answer like that, or you can make it a decimal. So let's see what that is. -8 divided by 3. If you would rather, you could write it as -2.67. I don't care how you write it. Your choice. And that's how you find solutions using the quadratic formula. It works for every quadratic. All right, let's try 2. Again, to start, first thing is it has to equal 0. Okay, so let's start. Let me zoom in a little here. Let's start by subtracting the x over so that it equals 0. Now be careful where you put it. You have to line up the exponents in order. So it's 2x squared. This x that we're subtracting over, he's going to come next. And then the constant -7 has to come last. Have to be careful that you guys get them in order. Okay, now we're ready to go. Let's label our A, B, and C. Well, A is 2. B, now what's B? There's a secret 1 here. So B is -1. Don't forget that negative. And C is the constant term, and that is -7. Don't forget about the negative. Now, once you have A, B, and C, we are ready to plug it in to the quadratic formula. Okay, so here we go. X equals -b. Well, negative is actually going to turn out to be a positive. Remember that from before? Plus or minus square root. B squared. B is -1, so when you square it, it has to be in parentheses. Okay, B squared minus 4 times A, which is 2, times C, which is -7. And hang on. Make Make sure you guys can see that negative 7. Okay, and it's all over 2 times a, 2 times 2. All right, the hard part is over. Now you type it in your calculator 2 times, 1 with the plus and 1 with the minus, and let's get our 2 solutions. Okay, so let's type this guy in. All right, again, quadratic formula is a fraction. So I'm going to use the alpha y equals to get my fraction. And then type it exactly as you see it. 1 plus, I'm going to do the plus version first. Square root b squared, so parentheses, negative 1 squared. This is a subtraction. 4 times 2 times, this is a negative 7. All over 2 times 2. Oh, 2 times 2. All right, hit enter. And our first one rounded to the nearest hundredth is 2.14. Okay, and then over here, we're going to do the minus sign. So I'm going to go up and change that plus into a subtract. Okay, the plus or minus, we need both of them. And when you do that, our second decimal is negative 1.64, rounded to the nearest hundredth. And those are your 2 solutions. Okay, so again, this is called the quadratic formula. It's a way to solve if maybe the other methods don't work. This always works. Quadratic formula. Okay, that is all for today. There are some practice problems on the back. I'm going to do them in case you guys want more practice, but if you would like, you can stop the video right here. All right, for those of you continuing on who would like some more examples, I'm going to do 2 more for you on the back. So starting with number 3, A is 1, B is negative 8, and C is 16. Okay, and we're going to type it into the quadratic formula. So x equals negative b. A negative negative is going to be a positive 8. Plus or minus square root b squared. When b is negative, you have to put it in parentheses. B squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Type it in the calculator and let's get our answers. Okay, so alpha y equals for the fraction 8 plus square root parentheses negative 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 16 all over 2 times 1. Our first one is 4. It's our first solution. Now the second one, we go back and we edit that plus and make it a subtract. And we get 4 again. So that's okay. Sometimes that happens. You get a double solution of the same thing. So the solution is 4 and 4, or just 4. All right, last one, and then we'll call it quits. Number 4. Did you guys notice that it does not equal 0? So we do need to add the 1 to the other side of the wall to start this. Okay, so when we do that, it's 3n squared minus 5n plus 1 equals 0. Now we are ready to label our A, B, and C. All right, looks like A is 3, B is negative 5, and C is positive 1. All right, let's plug it into our, I'm going to try to type this one straight in the calculator. Let's see how that goes for me here. All right, so alpha y equals fraction. All right, x equals negative b, so 5. I'm going to do the plus version first. Square root b squared, so parentheses for negative 5 squared, subtract 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is 1, all over 2 times 3. Okay, our first solution is 1.43. And if you go back and change the plus into a subtract, our second solution is 0.23. All right, and then we'll save the rest for practice in class tomorrow. All right, so this was solving by quadratic formula. Thanks for watching. Bye.